Well, everyone, it's Shane Conto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Believe It, My Journey of Success, Failure, and Overcoming the Odds by Nick Foles, along with writer Joshua Cooley. And funny story, my wife bought me a different book, which I'm also reviewing today because I read both of them, and they sent this one by accident, and I'm like, you know what? I'll read it. I think Nick Foles is a cool guy. I am a New York Giants fan. Jersey Giants, to be more accurate, being a Jersey kid, but I did grow up like 10-15 minutes from Philadelphia, and so many of the people in my life are Eagles fans, and that ride with Nick Foles leading them to the Super Bowl, coming in for Carson Wentz, is something magical. Nick Foles is inspiring, and that is one of the biggest driving forces of this book, is that it is inspiring, and a lot of his story is embedded with his faith. He is a very faith-based man, and he spends the time in his book being very candid about it, not trying to hide any of it, and really talking about how he's turned to God in his times of adversity. He's turned to his wife in his times of adversity, and really tried to find direction from God. And as somebody who is raised Roman Catholic and is confirmed, had their first Holy Communion, I would describe myself more as an agnostic at this point. And reading this book, I feel like it's accessible. It's not beating you over the head with it. So like even if you're somebody that's not super into faith, I still think this is an inspiring story. I do find some moments a little hard to really reckon with, especially one particular point in terms of like who puts value in your life. He goes into a whole entire thing how it's like you can't look for other people to put value in it, or like being a football player, what people say about you being a football player, putting value in your life, but then goes on a whole entire thing about how only Jesus could put value in his life. And I'm like, okay, that logic doesn't make sense to me, but it's faith and it's not really logical, and trying to make that connection. But there is a good message of inspiration and a great message of grit and not giving up and finding ways to motivate yourself, getting over those hurdles, because Nick Foles has been on a roller coaster ride in his NFL career, and this book does a great job of breaking down the ups and downs, the great moments, 7 touchdowns against the Raiders in his second season, and him winning the Super Bowl as a backup to, the year with the Rams, which was an absolute catastrophe for him. And I do feel like this story is well told. It's very accessible in the way that it's written. It's not overly complex. It's also not very long either. It's an easily digestible story with some injected faith-based elements to it that I do think are inspiring more than they are preachy, and I think that's an important thing. And in the end, I think this is a worthwhile experience. It's obviously a lot more tangible, especially if you are somebody who is of faith, and I think those things can connect with you a little bit deeper. And also, if you're a football fan and you know who Nick Foles is and getting to hear his story, I think it's well told. I think he has a engaging voice in his writing, and in the end, I think this is a real solid biopic. I guess not a biopic, it's not a biopic, biography. There you go. I reviewed too many movies. But those are my thoughts on Believe It by Nick Foles. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some books. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.